Folks, you'll recall Rick Santelli 5 years ago stood on the Chicago trading floor and basically said, "Who here amongst you, you commodity traders, wants to have to bail out people who couldn't pay their mortgages, as opposed to bailing out the banks?" And thus, Rick Santelli is credited with starting the Tea Party movement. But of course, that was just basically a way of channeling, not helping people who were defrauded by mortgage companies or were financially not literate enough to realize they were going into loans that would bankrupt them, et cetera, in a way of channeling it into a certain amount of race baiting, because then it was all about the Community Reinvestment Act, which really had nothing to do with this, et cetera. Well, Rick Santelli has also, like other people I know, from Glenn Beck to even certain commentators on this program, had been crying about how inflation, we were going to have hyperinflation. QE1, QE2, the dollar was going to crash. China people coming in and all the, yes, as Bob Beckel would say, all the inflation was going to run rampant. Sell the dollar, buy gold. Well, it seems that Steve Leisman on CNBC remembered that Rick Santelli said this and basically embarrassed him with it on CNBC yesterday. Here is that moment. Enjoy it.
The jury's still out as to whether the Fed is going to maneuver itself out of this. Yes, it is.
No. There is no jury out. Who's the jury? Who are you talking about specifically?
Well, I'm the judge. I'm talking to the jury that's here.
Professors? That you wouldn't let valet park your car?
Hey, Rick, you already decided this wasn't going to work 5 years ago. Is some of your anger about confirmation bias?
You were right, Rick.
What were you right on?
Rick, it's impossible. Rick,
you already decided this wouldn't work.
It's impossible for you to have been more wrong, Rick. Your call for inflation, the destruction of the dollar, the failure of the U.S. economy to rebound. Rick, it's impossible for you to have been more wrong. Every single bit of advice you gave would have lost people money, Rick. Lost people money, Rick. Every single bit of advice. There is no piece of advice that you've given that's worked, Rick.
They need a better strategy than the Cubs. Wait till next year isn't the way to go.
There is no piece of advice that you've given that's worked, Rick. Not a single one.
Oh, yeah, there is.
Paul Richards, I'll give
not a single one, Rick.
Can do her job or his job.
Not a single one. The higher interest rates never came. The inability of the U.S. to sell bonds never happened. The dollar never crashed, Rick. There isn't a single one that's worked for you.
Paul Richards, I'll give you.
Wow. Yes, there is one. I told my brother-in-law to buy a Subaru. That advice was good. Here's a question. Why do they let him on TV if they know that every single bit of his advice was a joke? Why is he still on this financial television network? Well, he's a yeller.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. Baby steps.